Yo, what's good, guys? Inswain with Inswain Audio. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and join the family. I drop videos like this every single day. Welcome. Today, I'm going to be telling you one thing that you have to master. You have to figure this out if you want to be successful in music, and I really mean this. Let's go. Okay, so I was on Reddit looking for video ideas, questions that people post, and I saw someone post this question that I'm about to read. And I'm going to answer it, but I'm going to go off in a different direction because it sparked an idea within me. So this person said, does ear fatigue affect your sense of rhythm? Unfortunately, I did what's not recommended and have been working nonstop on a mix for the past week and a half. Something strange is happening where the more I work on it, the more everything starts to sound offbeat. I'll listen to it the night before and it'll sound great, but then the next morning it'll sound like something that was made by a person who doesn't understand the concept of rhythm. I just wonder if this could be a symptom of ear fatigue. What kills me is that I'll listen to earlier versions and realize that I had it right, but ended up changing everything due to overthinking. Could this be ear fatigue affecting your sense of rhythm? I don't have any data to back it up, but yeah. Ear fatigue can screw with you in a lot of different ways, more than just frequency, perception. I have a story I can tell you. I have a song called Bustin' Out the Seams. I remember I was working on it so much, like multiple days in a row and for a lot during that day. And I remember I was editing my vocal, choosing the takes, re-recording, whatever, something like that. And at one part, like the name implies, it said, got it bustin' out the seams. And I listened to it so much that it sounded like I said Gabi bussin' instead of I be bussin' or got it bussin'. It sounded like Gabi. And I was losing my mind, and I remember asking the person with me, like, did I say the wrong lyrics? And they're like, no, like, it says got it busting out the seams, and I couldn't hear it. It just, to me, sounded like Gabi bussin'. And I was like, why would I have said, like, that's not even a thing. Like, I was losing my mind, and I couldn't unhear it. And it was like those, those videos you see where it's like, what are they saying? Like, is it this or that? Or you watch their mouth move, like all these different tricks. And that was happening to me unintentionally on this mix that I was working on. And I was just like, I just was like, all right, I guess I said the right thing. And I just couldn't shake it, but I just kept working that night. Then the next day, I was like, oh, I didn't say that. It sounds normal. And it was the craziest thing ever. Like, even though I kind of knew it was just me, losing my mind, having ear fatigue, I couldn't hear it differently. So I really think that ear fatigue can affect you in many different ways. And ear fatigue is kind of misleading because it's not actually all your ears physically changing. It's really in your brain. It's your perception of what you're hearing. So it's more like brain fatigue. That brings me to the main point of this video, what you need to master so that your career doesn't fail. That is knowing when to stop and knowing when to start. Mostly knowing when to stop, right? You have to be working a lot and working hard to make it in music. I don't think that's a hot take. I don't think anyone would really disagree with me on that. But you also have to know when to stop. You have to know when to stop because it's taking a toll on your other things in your life, your social life, whatever. You have to know when to stop because physically or psychologically, you're not working as effectively as you could be. Now, let's say you live a life where the only thing you want to do is music. You don't care about taking care of any other aspect of your life, which I'm not recommending necessarily, but let's just assume that. The simplest, straightforward answer is all you do is music, but you still have to stop because of things like this, where you start to lose perspective and you're not doing quality work. And in this case, you could even be ruining your work. And this applies to mixing, mastering, production, rapping, singing, any genre of music, vocalist, if you perform an instrument in a band, anything like that. The same thing applies. Let's say you have person A who worked 8 hours every day for a week. And then you have person B who's working 16 hours every day for a week. You would think, okay, person B is going to get twice as much done. But that's not always the case, because maybe they were really effective in those first 8 hours, but then the second 8 hours, they lost perspective and were actually harming themselves, not necessarily physically, although maybe, but they were making mix moves that were wrong and ruining the mix. Then they got to spend 10 hours the next day to fix it. So throughout those 2 days, they're actually getting less done than the person that's just working 8 hours a day and then has another 8 hours of free time to do whatever, whether it's email and work on their business a different way. So that goes for singing, instruments, production, mix, anything in music. You have to know where your limit is, and it might not be the same every day. It might be different than someone else's. That's okay. Don't compare. It's really about mastering yourself, knowing when you work as best as you can and being as efficient as possible, and knowing when to call it quits, which can be very hard. I've definitely worked past my, sweet spot many, many times. And sometimes we don't have the luxury of being able to stop then. Sometimes we have to get things done. So that's one thing. But if you want to make it in music, you have to know when to start and you have to know when to stop. And both can be very hard to master for different reasons. I don't think we're ever going to be perfect at it. But the more you get to know yourself and can master yourself, the much better your music career is going to be. I promise you, I've noticed it with myself. I still haven't mastered it. I'm still not where I want to be, but getting better at it has helped me a lot. So, hope that one helped you guys. Let me know down in the comments. Please make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Peace.